Hi everyone, today is kind of a special day. It's actually my Booktube birthday, as in 1 year ago I uploaded my very first YouTube video. So today I just wanted to reflect back a little bit. This is going to be a super honest, unplanned video. I just want to talk a little bit about what my experience has been and why I started my channel and good stuff like that. I'm wearing my sorcerer's hat, which is way too tall to be in frame. So maybe if I go like this. I didn't get really consistent about posting more until May or June, but March 30th was the day that I uploaded my first video. I actually wanted to pre-film this and have this up earlier in the day, but actually last night I had my first live gig in over a year, so that was actually kind of a funny coincidence in the timeline. So like a lot of people, my world pretty much fell apart a year ago. My husband and I are classical musicians. We're full-time performers and teachers and, do all sorts of other things that musicians do. So I don't want to be melodramatic about what last year was like for me because I feel like overall I was very, very fortunate. I was healthy and safe. We didn't really have any immediate huge concern. It was just that there were a lot of things we've been working towards for a really long time. There were events that we had been planning for over a year that were due to happen, I think, like the second week in March. And just slowly over the beginning of last March, just like our industry completely fell apart. Everything got canceled and the cancellations just kept on coming. And it was just a really weird, insecure time. So like I said, I don't want to be melodramatic about how things were for me because there were so many people that had it so much worse. But it was just psychologically really challenging to go from being super busy, workaholic, just go, go, go all the time, to suddenly my schedule was completely empty for an indefinite period of time. And actually looking back, we started doing stuff pretty quickly and things adapted pretty quickly, but at the time it just felt so slow. It felt like I had really lost my purpose in life in a lot of ways, and it was just, very weird and depressing. I think a lot of people started channels around then for kind of the same reason. They felt basically pretty lost and they wanted something to fill their days. And that was definitely what led me to start making videos. I had only even found out about Booktube maybe a few months before that. It was a total accident. I had just read a book, I think it was The Priory of the Orange Tree by Samantha Shannon. And actually, this feels like a typical story for me. I didn't like the book, so I wanted to find reviews online to see if anyone else shared my opinion or what people thought about it, because it just had seemed very hyped. It seemed like it should be a great book, and I didn't even know. I just kind of fell flat for me. So anyway, I think I probably just Googled The Priory of the Orange Tree, and I just found somebody's Booktube video about it in my search results, and I watched it. I think that person liked the book, so it didn't even really help my problem, which was that I wanted to know if anybody else didn't like this book. But then, as the YouTube algorithm does, it just started recommending a bunch of similar videos to me, and I realized there was a whole corner of YouTube where people reviewed books and talked about books, and I had no idea that was even a thing. And this was in late 2019, early 2020. So sorry guys, I'm basically a dinosaur on the internet. Like, I know I'm only 30, but sometimes I'm just like an old person. So I started telling people about it and they were like, yeah, of course, like there's YouTube for everything, duh. But to me, it was kind of a revelation. And I said to my husband, if I was ever going to do YouTube videos, I think this would be really perfect for me because I really like to read. I read so much science fiction and fantasy, and I'm always just recommending books to people around me. So it felt like kind of a good fit. And I kind of had it in the back of my head, like, oh yeah, maybe someday I'll do that, but honestly, I'm way too busy, so like realistically, probably not. So at that time, I started watching different people's channels and got a little bit more into Booktube videos. I watched probably some of the bigger science fiction and fantasy names, the ones that came up first for me when I started looking up videos, and really enjoyed it. And yeah, so it's always in the back of my head, like maybe at some point I'll do something, but I don't know, I was really busy, obviously, and it did not feel like a priority. I didn't feel like I had time for a hobby. We were just so focused on work, and we had so much going on, and I was already fairly overwhelmed. But then, like I said, when everything just fell apart, it felt like the right time to do it, because I really needed anything to work on. And a lot of musicians found this when you're practicing or preparing for certain things and those things get canceled. We've spent a lifetime, like, sure, we're disciplined and we practice all the time, but when you sort of lose all your reasons for doing that, it can feel very hard to continue when you're not sure, like, am I ever going to have concerts again? Am I ever going to get to perform for a live audience again? So I was really missing a creative outlet. I wasn't able to find that in music a year ago. So YouTube kind of became that for me, especially during the summer as things were starting to settle into a new routine, but before everyone had really quite adapted to how things were going to be. Making videos really provided me with kind of like a structure. I would plan out the videos and I would make the videos and then I would edit the videos and then I would post the videos, and just doing that would kind of give me a sense of purpose that I didn't really have in too much else at the time. Then after that, obviously, there were times in the last year where I actually still got like too busy to post videos. I've tried to get better about pre-planning and being consistent. Even though it's a hobby, I like to be sort of consistent and disciplined about things. That's basically my personality. So I'm still always working. I still don't have like a consistent posting schedule, which is something I'd like to actually decide on and stick to. But basically whenever I decide on a posting schedule, I just end up shifting it. So that's my problem. But filming the first video for me was so hard. I don't know, sometimes I see other people and I think they're just so natural in front of the camera, and that was so not me. And I'm very, very comfortable with public speaking. There are certain things that make me socially anxious, like if I'm in a group and we all have to go around and like introduce ourselves and do an icebreaker or say a fun fact about us or our favorite color or a place we want to visit, I will just freeze up and panic. But otherwise, I can give a presentation, a lecture, I can talk as part of a performance, all these things, totally fine. As long as I feel like I have the stage, I'm pretty comfortable talking in front of people. But when I sat down with this camera for the first time to record, and my husband was there with me for moral support, and I froze. I just stared at it. I had the idea for the video I wanted to make, and I even had notes, and I couldn't say anything. It was one of the most terrifying experiences that I've ever had. And at that moment, I was thinking, oh my gosh, this is clearly just not for me. I can't do this. I'm going to look like an idiot. It's going to be terrible. Why am I even trying this? All the negative thoughts, but also just basically pure terror at being faced with the camera. So I stared at the camera for, I don't know, maybe 5 or 6 minutes. My husband tried to encourage me, something that sometimes works, and sometimes I just get really stubborn and refuse to be encouraged. So at that point, I kind of like tried to start a little bit, but I couldn't even get myself to talk. And then I basically burst into tears and ran into the other room and curled up in the fetal position. I'm being super honest with you guys. That's what happened the first time I ever tried to film a video. That video is still up, by the way. I haven't taken down any of my first videos, but what happened then was I was sort of lying on the bed, feeling really depressed, like I can't even film a YouTube video and I don't even have anything else going on and nobody's even gonna watch it anyway, and I just still can't even get myself to do this because I'm just too scared. But one thing I'll say about myself is that even though sometimes I have a lot of fears, I also really, really hate giving up on things. And there's just, I would say, a lot of things I've been scared to do and then accomplished. It's not because I wanted the positive outcome. I just could not live with the feeling of failing to do something because I was too scared to do it. So I feel like, I'm sure there are other examples in my life. Like I think getting a driver's license was finally like that for me. I was scared to get my driver's license and I could no longer live with not having it. It wasn't even that I actually wanted it. So I just kind of thought to myself, well, either I can go out there and make this video or I can give up, and I'm not going to give up, so I guess I have to go make the video. And I did, and it got better as I went along. Not a great video. I think I improved pretty quickly at the beginning. I still feel like I have lots to work on when it comes to making videos, but overall, once it was done, I felt good that I'd done it, and I knew it wasn't maybe the greatest video ever, but I put it out there. I didn't tell anybody in my life other than my husband that I was doing it. It took me a while before I told anybody I was making videos, and I'm still not super open about it. I'm not too embarrassed about it anymore or anything like that. I don't know, I'm very shy about putting myself out there with that sort of thing. So I think that's the only time I ever actually ran away when I was trying to film. The first few times were still really hard and it got easier. And now sometimes it's still a little bit hard to get myself to do it, but there's also days where I just feel really happy to be talking to the camera. So overall, it's been really fun. As of today, I have 446 subscribers, which really just blows me away. I didn't think anyone was going to watch my videos, and the fact that 446 people, only like 3 of which are related to me, decided to, hit subscribe, that means a lot to me. I really don't take it for granted. I really appreciate everyone that comments. I've really enjoyed getting to engage with this community. It's really given me a lot of meaning and support this past year. It's really helped my life a lot, and doing videos has built my confidence in different ways from the skills that I had before. I have learned how to badly edit videos in Premiere. I've learned a few different skills that I didn't have before. So I'm really grateful, and I'm looking forward to continuing to make videos. And if you've watched this far, thanks for being on this journey with me.